Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4. So today we would like to explain about educational psychology. So before we go to explain this material, I would like to introduce our members. They are Dina Matasari, Dina Zahra, Rizky and Salsabila. So the first explanation will be explained by Salsabila. Salsabila, time is yours.
Okay, Dinaudi, thank you. I will explain about the definition. What is educational psychology? Educational psychology is the psychological study of learning within various educational situations. It covers the psychology of teaching as well as the newer study of social psychology within school settings. Educational psychology seeks to understand how students each learn and how they develop. Education psychology covers a broad expanse of specialties, with educational psychologists focusing on different technology used in education, how teachers develop curriculum or worksheet, as well as lesson plans and rubric with their classroom. It also covers special education for both gifted students and those with learning disabilities. Next, about the theories of educational psychology. The first theory is behaviorism. Behaviorism defines learning as observable behavioral change that occurs in response to environmental stimuli. Positive stimuli or reward create positive association behavior. Meanwhile, negative stimuli or punishment discourage the behaviors associated with those stimuli. Through this process of conditioning, people learn to either repeat or avoid behaviors. Behaviorism relies on the prediction or analysis of behavior based on causal stimuli, while education uses the process of positive and negative reinforcement to encourage or discourage behaviors. In psychology, both behavior modification and behavior therapy owe their origins to behaviorism. Behaviorism also influenced the sequence and method used during the teaching and learning process. Teachers work toward their desired objective by using external stimuli, explaining and demonstrating a skill or behavior, and then inviting students to practice and provide a feedback that reinforce the behaviors or skill they wish students to learn or unlearn. The second, uh, the second, the second theory is cognitive psychology. Cognitive psychology is a branch of general psychology. It includes scientific studies of the symptoms of mental life insofar as it relates to the way humans think in gaining knowledge, processing impression that enter through the sense, solving problems, digging up memories of expertise and work through the sense, solving problems. Mental life encompasses cognitive, affective, and cognitive symptoms to some degree. Cognitive psychology understands knowledge systematically and symbolically. It posits learning as the process of changing a learner's mental model or schematic understanding of knowledge. In this view, human behavior reflects internal processing of the human mind, rather than simply a conditioned responses to external stimuli. Learning involves the integration of information into a stored and usable body of knowledge. The next theory will be explained by Dea Matsari.
So something begin is a view of cognitive development that emphasizes active role of learners in building their own understanding of reality. So, the basic assumption of constructivism theory as a learning theory of educational psychology is that basically everyone already has initial knowledge or proficiency about something to be studied. So, this is how develop or construct the knowledge or initial proportions that are already have into new and complete knowledge. Like this side. Okay. So here is physics stages of development. Look at PSA is divided the development of children into dozens or stages. He believes that all children pass through these stages in this order and, and that no child can skip a stage. Although different children pass through the stages at somewhat different rates. So the earliest stage is called sensory motor. Because during this stage, babies and young children discover their worth by using their senses and their motor skills. Approximate age is from birth to 2 years. And Piaget believes that all children are born with a innate tendency to interact with and make sense of their environment. And the second is pre-operational. Approximate age is from 2 to 7 years, whereas infants can learn about and understand the world only by psychically manipulating objects. Preschoolers have greater ability to think about things and can use symbols to mentally represent objects. And the third is concrete operational. Approximate age is from 7 to 11 years. Children at this stage can form concepts, see relationships, and solve problems, but only as long as they involve objects and situations that are familiar. And the last is formal operational stage. Approximate age is from 11 years to adulthood. Sometime around the onset of puberty, children's thinking begins to develop into the form that is characteristic of adults. The pre-adolescence begins to be able to think abstractly and to see possibilities beyond the here and now. These abilities continue to develop into adulthood. With the formal operational stage comes the ability to deal with potential and hypothetical situations. Next slide, please. The last is human development. It refers to how people grow, adapt, and change over the course of their lifetimes through psycho development, personality development, socio-emotional development, cognitive development, or thinking and language development. So, humanism clearly explains that a person can choose what she wants to learn, explore and assess their own learning process, so that motivation from students is needed. This theory prioritizes individual student involvement as a whole, because learning will not take place. There is no student emotional involvement. Therefore, it is necessary to consider psycho thing, emotional thing, intellectual aspect, and affective aspect. Basically, educational psychology studies all human behavior involved in the educational process. Humans involved in the educational process are teachers and students. So, objects discussed are student behavior related to the learning process and student behavior related to the process. Thus, the main object discussed in psychology in the world of education is the problem of learning and learning education for all ages. Okay, thank you. The next question is explained by my
Okay, thank you, Dina. I will explain about the benefits of studying educational psychology. So basically, this benefit is more focused on the teacher and prospective teacher. This benefit can be divided into two aspects, namely one to learn situation in learning, and the second one is for implementation of teaching and learning principles. Next slide, please. To learn situation in learning process. So basically, there are five. So it can be divided into five, or namely, first one is understanding individual differences, which is the learner itself. Because the characteristic of each student different with one and another, therefore it is important to understand the different characteristic of each student at the different growth and development level to create an effective and efficient learning process. The second one is creation of the conducive learning climate in the classroom. Conducive learning climate must be created by the teachers so that the learning process can be run more effectively. It can help the teacher to deliver the materials to the student effectively and efficiently. And the next one is selection of learning strategies and methods. Learning method is based on the characteristic of the student development. The teacher must determine appropriate of learning strategies and methods and be able to relate to them to the characteristic and uniques of the individual, such as the type of learning and learning style and the level of development of study. The next one is giving guidance to learner. The teacher must play a different role in school, such as acting as a guide for learners or the student. Guidance is a kind of help to students to solve the problem they face, like they are in real life or in the school or in their home. The teachers have to provide the necessary education and give guidance for students at different age levels. And the last one is evaluating learning outcomes. So basically, evaluation activity help in measuring student learning outcomes. Educational physiology can assist the teacher and prospective teacher in developing a more equitable evaluation of student learning. Next slide, please. The second one, the benefit of educational psychology is implementation of teaching and learning principles. For implementation of teaching and learning principles can also be divided into several types. Namely, the first one is setting learning objective. The second one is the use of learning media, and the third one is preparing lesson schedule. The first one is setting learning objective. The purpose of learning refers to a change in behavior experienced by student after the implementation of the learning process. So the point is to determining the desired form of behavioral change as a learning objective. The second one is one of use of learning media. Teacher can do planning provided with learning media to be used. For example, the use of audiovisual media such as a projector. So the learners can get the real picture of the material that is being studied. And the third one is the preparation of lesson schedule. Lesson schedule should be based on the psychological state of the learner. For example, subjects that are considered difficult for students such as grammar or listening are placed at the beginning of the lesson. Where the student condition is fresh and the spirit of visiting the subject, so the student can be more focused on learning the materials. Based on what I have been explained before, it can be concluded that the education of psychology play a role in helping teacher to plan, organize, and evaluate teaching and learning activity in school. Okay, that's it for me. The next material will be explained by Dina.
Okay, thank you, Rizky. I would like to explain the next material. It is about the role of educational psychology. So, what is the role of educational psychology? So, the first point that will be discussed is about educational psychology for better teaching learning environment. So, psychology is defined as a science which aims to give better understanding and control of the behavior of the organism as a whole. Psychology is the science of behavior and experience. Educational psychology is the applied branch of psychology and is combining of educational and psychology. So, for this educational psychology, it can make some better teaching learning environment. Next slide, please. Educational psychology for conducting teaching learning environment. So there are 2 points that will be focused with this discussion. The first one is literature is full of evidences regarding use of educational psychology for conductive atmosphere in the classroom. The second one is 5 key ingredients for improving students' motivation. So for the 5 key ingredients for improving student motivation, they are learner, teacher, content, method of process, and environment. So these 5 components would contribute to and or hinder learning motivation. Educators will watch themselves and their own behavior to become self-aware of new understanding about motivation. To resolve conflict permanently, the teachers must address the cause of conflicts and not the just symptoms of it. Educational can explore that conflict resolution education provides some critical life skills necessary for building constructive relationships and developing safe environment in schools. Next slide, please. Okay, in this slide, we are focused on role of educational psychology in making conductive teaching learning environment. Several researchers, like Saint Kleiner and Robert, Rose and Smith, 1994, explored that teachers are producers of environments that permits learners to learn. When learners are anxious, worried, stressed about making mistakes, they are less likely to engage in their academic activities in a rewardful, meaningful, and strategic manner. So, this educational psychology is necessary to create a cognitive environment which results in better learning. After careful rule of studies, we cannot ignore the role of educational psychology in providing conductive and cognitive learning environment, resulting in better retention and better academic achievement among learners. Next slide, please. So this is about conflict management. We can see that conflict management is divided by 3 aspects. The first one is approach conflict. The second one is approach avoidance conflict. The third one is avoidance conflict. For approach conflict, it is positive ways in the positive situation. If example, it is positive ways in the classroom. So it means that we can approach the conflicts. The second one is approach avoidance conflict. It is positive but negative situation. So a situation in the classroom to manage the student is really negative because it is trying to choose a favorable. It is like we try to choose the right way about this management conflict. The third one is avoidance conflict. It is negative in negative ways of negative situation. So this last method or last type of conflict management for this avoidance conflict, we can try to avoid both. It is like we avoid both situation or maybe both conflict between students or teachers or maybe in the learning and teaching process in classroom. Next slide, please. So this is educational psychology and teaching learning process. So this is the relation about how we educational psychology in the teaching learning process. If we will be a teacher in the future, we must use this step, or maybe it is like the following ways for a teacher who helps the student psychology in the classroom. The first one is stage of development. As we know that a human life passes through different stages of development before it reaches adulthood. It can be called as infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood class. But each stage has its own characteristic. So psychologists have thoroughly studied the characteristic behavior patterns of these different stages of life. So it means that we treat the students different. We treat the students differently between their stage. It means that you know to devote the stage of the behaviorism of a student's development. The second one is know your learners. Psychologists are concerned to establish the behavior pattern of human behavior so that they are able to know, predict, and modify the behavior. So this educational psychology can help the teacher to know about students' learning capacity, students' learning interesting, and students' attitudes. Students' creativity, and also students' intelligence. And also we can know about what is the motivation for the students in the learning and teaching process. The third one is dealing with diverse learners. Educational psychology can help the teacher to adapt and adjust his teaching according to the level and needs of the diverse learners. For effective teaching learning, the teacher must have the knowledge of the various approaches, methods, principles, flows, and factors affecting it. So it means that we as the teachers can feel about the various approaches, about students' method and students' principle, or maybe about the factors that will affect the student's psychology. The next is knowledge of individual differences. We can see that it is focused on about the student's skill, the student's individual skills. Maybe about one or two persons are exactly alike, but learners can be different in their level of intelligence, attitude, interest, and creativity. So it means that educational psychology can help the teacher to know individual differences among the learners in the class and the producers accordingly. Methodology and techniques can be adapted for them to deal with differences. The next one is dealing with special needs learners. We can deal about what is the special, what we want to use about to make the development of students in their needs learners. Special education such as like instruction that are specifically designed to meet the unique needs of learners or the special needs children. The special needs children are the ones who need adaptive teaching instruction, adaptive learning environment, or adaptive learning process. So it is that they need psychically different able or students with delinquency. These children are identified and how teachers in collecting pedagogy is suitable for them, or maybe students can choose about what material that will be discussed in the day when they want to teach a learning. For example, we as a teacher teach them about practice facts. So it means that the students can give some suggestion to the teacher what will be discussed. The simple present tense is like they want to work in a room, or maybe they want to just speaking using simple present tense, or maybe they want to writing. So it means that we can feel about the needs of learners. Okay, the next on the distinct ways is tackling classroom problems. There are various problems in the classroom, such as truancy, bullying, peer pressures, cheating in tests, academic stress, academic anxiety, and etc. Educational psychology can equip the teacher by studying the characteristics of the children with problems to know about the dynamics of the group. So it means that this technique can make teacher to feel effectively in classroom before the class begins to make better teaching learning environment in the classroom. The next one is suitable methods of teaching. Educational psychology helps education discover various approaches, principles, methods, and techniques of teaching which are helpful in today's teaching learning process. So it means that these suitable methods of teaching, we can create a new suitable methods to make or to discover various new topics or various new methods to teach your students, to teach the student, like example, playing, drama, or maybe skit, or group discussion. Okay, the next one is heredity and environment of the child. Educational psychology equips the teacher with knowledge that the child is the product of heredity and environment. They are the inevitable side of a single coin. Heredity and environment plays a central role in all around development of the child. The child is born with some innate hereditary qualities and interaction with environment helps them to be modified according to the requirements of the society. So it means that this heredity and environment means that every student was born with the same heredity, but they are in development with different environment. They develop their skills or maybe their knowledge with different environments, background from their family. So we can make to improve their skills or maybe their knowledge with our environment as a teacher. Next one is mental health. So mental health is the one that really really make the students feel stress or maybe anxiety because educational psychology also can make or can help the teacher to know about the factors responsible for the mental ill health and to adjustment of learners and to suggest improvements. Besides this, it can also provide that the teacher with necessary insights to improve his own mental status to deal with the situation effectively. So we can divide it between the students who get mental health or maybe the students who enjoy when they study in the classroom. The last is about need-based curriculum. Curriculum is an integral part of teaching learning process. Curriculum should be learner-centered and fulfill the motivates, psychological needs of the individual. So it is that we need of curriculum based on students' ability. So we create or maybe we need some curriculum that can make students develop their skill, maybe to prepare the lunch curriculum. So we can be make some difference needed of the learners in the future. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation. Thank you, moderator. Thank you, moderator, please. Okay.
You are a moderator.
Okay.
You are a moderator, Dina.
Yes. So thank you. This is our explanation for group 4. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.